Hey guys, how's it going? So, I got another response on my last video talking about matter and form, uh, arguing that it might be the case that we can affect the matter of a thing so to change its form. And they make some very good points that I will try and address throughout this video. But what I figured I would do is give a full rundown of the whole thing as my kind of last video on this topic for a bit so that I can get to other topics as well, not just the one matter versus form. So what I'm going to talk about is what the four causes are. The brief overview is that the four causes are the four things that back in ancient philosophy, Aristotle realized make up the composition of a thing. The four causes are what cause a particular thing to be the specific kind of thing it is. In the examples I give in here, I'm talking about a chair. So what are the four things that make a chair be a chair? So the first of these is the final cause. That is the ultimate purpose for the thing, the reason that it exists and the function it fulfills. So that of a chair obviously being to be sat upon, to hold up a thing that is being sat on it, right? That is the intended purpose of a chair. Now, I'm going to be using the example of a chair through this, which is, as I talked about in the last video, a humankind. That is, whether a thing is a chair or a seat is understood to be a chair or a seat because humans conceive of it as a chair or a seat, right? So that's a humankind because it is the thing because of a level of human conception of it. There are kinds known as natural kinds that the human element doesn't matter. For example, wood or a tree. A tree is going to be the thing that it is regardless of what we conceive of it as. It's not up to our determination to know that it's a tree. It's just a tree by its own nature. So I'm using the example of a humankind, but these all go for those natural kinds as well. It's just a little easier to describe in terms of humankind. So final cause is that thing that it's made to do. A chair is made to be sat in. A thing is said to be the most fulfilled when it is fulfilling its final cause. That is when it's happiest. Happy just meaning that level of total fulfillment. The second cause is the efficient cause. This is what we think of most of the time when somebody is talking about a cause and effect. You know, the one action that intentionally moved to the effect. In this case, in the case of our chair, it might be the carpenter. The carpenter is the one assembling the wood into a chair. So the carpenter would be the efficient cause that makes the chair a chair. The last two, are the kind of two big ones I've been talking about in the last couple of videos, and the two that have some difficulty understanding the differences in. So, the formal cause. This is the actual shape or structure of the thing. We couldn't easily call some free-flowing liquid like a river a chair because it doesn't have a shape or structure that allows you to sit in it properly, right? If you try and sit on a lake, you'll just sink. The water falls out from beneath you. It won't hold you up like a chair. So water, or a body of water like a lake, is not a chair because it's in the wrong form. You might be able to freeze the ice and carve it into something that can be sat on, in which case you could call it a chair because you've put it in the form of a chair. But that form or that structure of chairness can exist, but not actually be present in reality. Ooh. That is to say, I can conceive of a chair. I can conceive of a thing to be sat on. But there's a number of actual components to it that need to be filled in order for it to be actual. I can conceive of a structure that's, just about knee height and sturdy enough and flat that will uphold a person when in a seated position. Those would be the kinds of things that go into the form of a chair or of a seat. But that could be a block of ice or a stump of wood, or it could be a carefully crafted by carpenter piece of wood, or covered in upholstery, or carved out of stone, or forged out of iron. Like, there's a list of different physical items that we can structure into the form of a chair. These are the things that cause it to actually be the actual matter of the chair. So there's a chair sitting in front of me that's made out of wood and some foam padding, right? These are the actual materials that are applied to the structure of a chair to make it a seat. So the materials cause it to be, in a sense, though not entirely, in reality. And the shape, the form, causes it to be able to do the thing that it was made for, and then the efficient cause is the one who makes it. Now, I put these in top to bottom order for a reason. Because there is an order of priority of these four things. That is not necessarily that one of these things is more important than the others to make something what it is, but that they occur in a natural, logical order. The first thing being the final cause. Interestingly enough, we start at the end. A chair can't exist in the form of a chair without the intended need for a chair or for a thing to be sat on, right? That form can't exist without a final purpose. And again, all of these concepts are applicable to natural kinds as well. A squirrel has a final function. Philosophers have given a number of interesting ideas for what that kind of final cause might be. One being, for a squirrel, something it could be to find acorns and eat and plant them and spread the seeds to grow the trees. Another being that in its final cause is to be the most ideal squirrel there is. Right? So there's different options for this, but to understand that there is, whether we know what it is or not, some final cause to even natural kinds, not just human kinds. It's just easier to discuss in human kinds. The efficient cause, I kind of stuck in the middle here, but it actually comes after the formal cause. I had those out of order. The efficient cause can't come before the final cause because a creator, like a carpenter, can't make a chair without the form of a chair, and a form of a chair can't exist without the need for a chair or a thing to be sat on. So there's an order. I have these two backwards just because of the order I wanted to describe these in through the video, but recognize that formal cause comes before efficient cause. But efficient cause comes before material cause, and that the efficient cause comes after the final cause. They're still in their natural order. The formal cause has to come before the material cause, because the formal cause is what the matter is applied to. Right? I can have wood or stone or iron or even that block of ice and it not be a chair. Because on its own, it's not a chair. It has to be in the form of a chair to be a chair. So the form has to exist in order for the matter to be applied to, for it to be the material cause of the particular thing. So then, can we change the matter of a particular item or person or animal, any other kind, and restructure it so that the formal cause changes? Obviously not, because the matter is what's being applied to the formal cause, not the other way around. This is where I think it's really interesting. Part of the argument that was brought up in the comment I'm responding to is, Well, if you consider a boat, it's in the form of a boat, it has the matter, and you can restructure, like if you disassembled all of those pieces of the boat and reassembled them into a house. Well, it would seem that you've taken the matter and restructured it and changed the form. But what you have done is take the matter from the boat and apply it to a different form. The form is different, yes, but it is not because the boat is now a house. It's because you've taken the matter and applied it to a totally different form altogether. I could not reasonably take the qualities of a squirrel and rearrange them, the actual matter in existence, the things that make that squirrel a squirrel. I'm talking not just like fur and tail and 4 legs and climbs trees, not things like that. I'm talking about like all the way down to its molecular structure, its DNA. And rearranged those into, say, a cat. I would not have turned a squirrel into a cat. It would not be the same squirrel that has now become a cat because the form is totally different. What I've done is killed a squirrel and used its parts to assemble a new cat. Right? I haven't made a boat. I haven't taken a boat and made that boat to be a house. I have destroyed the boat and used its parts to assemble a house. It is in this way that the material cause cannot change the formal cause. We can apply the same matter of one thing to some other form, but it doesn't change the form itself. If I take a particular human, I might be able to conceive of those qualities being applied or present in another human. Or I might be able to take one person and think of all the ways I could change their qualities to be that of another person. But then what I've done is not turn this human that is Joe into this other human that is Jane. What I've done is I've destroyed Joe and created Jane as distinct people. They cannot be understood to be the same person because in this case, the formal cause doesn't change, but the actual application, well, okay, getting into some intricacies here. There is a distinction between the ultimate formal cause of a human or of humanity as a whole and the particular qualities of particular persons. Right, because we can say that I am a human just as much as yourself watching this video are a human, but there are particular qualities that should you take away from me would result in a different person. So these are part of the formal cause in a sense, and if you change them, you change the specific person you're talking about. I'm not going to get totally into that because, for one thing, theologians don't fully agree on how that all works because we all agree that we all have the form of a human. But I can't make Joe, who is a distinct individual person, and make them into Jane because there is distinctions between them. And if I were to take those distinctions from Joe and put them and rearrange them into the distinctions of Jane, well, then I'd just have Jane. Because the matter doesn't change the form itself. The matter is something that is applied to the form and can't be applied to a form that doesn't exist because then there's nothing for it to be applied to. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a like. If you've got questions or comments or just interesting things you might have thought of, throw it in the comment box below. I try to respond to all of them, and I might make a video like this one responding to you too. And if you want to see more things like this and more of my videos in your feed, especially talking about philosophy and theology, hit the subscribe button. That way you'll be up to date when I upload a new video. Thank you guys so much. God bless.